Komið þið sæl og verið velkomin á opið hús. Welcome to the open house. Gestur okkar þessu sinni Hoda Thabet, Dr. Hoda Thabet. Hún doktor í bókmenntum við Háskóla Íslands. She is a doctor, holds a doctorate from the University of Iceland in literature. Ég ætla bara að gefa þér orðið, nema það ætla að segja það að þetta verður á ensku. Just gonna give the mic over to her, and she's going to speak in English. So this will be in English, most of it. And after your talk, we're going to have some discussions. En við verðum kannski með einhver umræður á eftir. Gjörðu svo vel.
Takk fyrir. I'm going to share my screen. First, thank you for inviting me to this open house. And basically, I'm going to talk about myself, my journey. And let's see where I have started and where this journey is taking me. So, where is my home? Usually when I meet people, the first question is from where you are, and I say it's a long story, and usually we never have enough time to talk about the long story. So this is why I thought, okay, maybe I give a lecture about it. So where is my home? I was born in India. And lived all my life in Oman, which is a country, a Gulf country. So you see here next to Yemen. And I'm from Persian origins, but I never lived in Iran. My mother, she was also born in India from Persian origins. And her mother was also born in India from Persian origins. My family from mother's side, we are from Zoroastrian background. My grandfather, at a young age, he discovered the Bahá'í faith and he became Bahá'í. Then he came to India from Iran and then found my grandmother and they got married. So this is the story from the mother's side. My father, however, is from Muslim background. My grandfather, he was a Baha'i in Iran from Muslim background also. So in the real life, Zoroastrian and Muslims, they never meet. If they were not Baha'is, my parents would never be able to marry each other. And then I was not born. So I lived all my life in Oman. I was 1 month old when my mother, because I am the eldest in my brothers and sisters, so she traveled to India to give birth to me. So I was born in India, and then rest of my life I was in Oman. So in my heart, in my soul, everything in me, I would say I'm an Omani. Although in Oman I'm not accepted as an Omani, but I am an Omani. I'm a Baha'i, and it's a journey. It's just the beginning to say I am a Baha'i. Baha'u'llah says the purpose of learning should be the promotion of the welfare of the people. True learning is that which is conducive to the well-being of the world, not to pride and self-conceit, or to tyranny, violence, and pillage. It's a journey because I'm not representing the Baha'i faith. I am walking this journey with myself and in this world. And every day I try to learn something, and implement it. So it's a spiritual journey. For me, education is a tool that I use to find ways to benefit others. For example, today I just saw an advert that how they are teaching a new degree in how to make movies, master degrees. I thought, oh, I should learn this. Maybe I can use it to do something useful for the community or for the group of people that I am working for and with, basically refugees and children and mothers. I have my BA degree from Jordan, and my first master degree from London University in Arabic literature. My second master degree is from Iceland University, and my PhD from Iceland University in Bokmenton in comparative literature, women's studies. And actually it's Arab writers and the female characters in the Arab writers. And as you see, I mean, I never stopped studying because I want to learn a lot. I learned from everything, and it's a journey also. I learn from my child, I learn from education, I learn from the children that I work with, I learn from the illiterate people that I work with, you know. It's a continuous journey of learning. Integration is a big title. So what is integration? Abdul Baha says, and the honor and distinction of the individual consists in this, that he among all the world's multitudes should become a source of social good. Is any larger bounty conceivable than this, that an individual looking within himself should find that by the confirming grace of God, he has become the cause of peace and well-being, of happiness and advantage to his fellow men. No, by the one true God, there is no greater bliss, no more complete delight. So when we talk about integration, and basically integration of displaced people, of refugees, and I would say of Bahá'ís coming from that side of the world, it's not one way, it's a two-way integration. First of all, as a Bahá'í, the whole world is your home, is not one place. But also integration means that we find the host countries also accept what the skills and the knowledge and the capacities of the people that they are receiving. So it's not one way that you only learn the language of the host country and you only do what the life is, the way that the life is taking shape in the host countries, but also the host countries, when they receive the pool of knowledge and capacities of those people who are coming to their land, you know, it's a win-win situation, both side integration. So I said I was, all my life, I was in Oman, and in my heart, I'm an Omani person. This is why it's very difficult to answer the question from where you are, Hoda. Shall I talk about my heart? Shall I talk the country of my birth? Shall I talk about my passport? You know, what should I say? And also going back to the word integration, none of those countries accept me. So yes, in my heart, I'm Omani, but I was never accepted as Omani person. We were living in Oman, my parents, they lived in Oman for 40 years, and we were living on the visa. Like every 2 years, you need to renew that visa. And after 40 years, they stopped renewing the visa and they had to fled the country. So we were never accepted as Omanis or the citizens of that country. However, I went to school, and the pictures you see, these are from my old school that I went to in Oman. From the first grade to grade 12, I went to Omani Arabic school, and I studied all the subjects that they are teaching in the school, including the religion, the Islamic religion. And as a Baha'i, I believe in Islam. So that was fine with us. So we were wearing like this. I was wearing like this. And the stream, the other picture, the stream of water is exactly the stream of water behind our house in the place, in the city that we were living in Oman. And, it was a rented house, not owned. And so in my childhood, I used to go to this same stream of water, and there is home. Home is that city, and home for me is Oman, if I would say where is home. These are my classmates, and we were together for 12 years. For 12 years, we studied in the same class, going from grade 1 to grade 2 to grade 3. I was the only foreign girl, in addition to 2 or 3 Egyptian girls classmates. So the rest, they are all, they were all Omanis. And for me, these are my sisters in humanity, and they have this everlasting place in my heart. I know every single of them. I know their names. I know their hobbies. I know their dreams. I know everything, So where is home? This side or that side of the ocean. When we receive refugees, and I'm going to talk about refugees. I'm not a refugee myself, but the rest of my family, almost rest, they are refugees. So where is home? We, that side of the world, when we reside into this or that country, we call the people locals. But I'm not a local Omani, I'm not a local Indian, I'm not a local Persian or Iranian. And when people fled discrimination or fled unjust situation, and they come to this side of the ocean, we call them refugees. And suddenly the word refugee, it changed the whole criteria of introducing this human being. So this human being, if he or she is in his homeland, he is dignified, he is seen as a person who has capacities, efforts are given and offered to this person to develop. But when this person, for unjust reasons and situation, for the prejudice, religious prejudice, political prejudice, racial prejudice, fled his local environment and come to this side of the ocean, suddenly he is lowered into his nobility, from his nobility. Suddenly he's a refugee. Oh, a refugee doesn't have a capacity. We need to build his or her capacity. Doesn't have a knowledge. We need to give them knowledge. Doesn't have enough strength. and power. We need to, instead of just seeing, if we take this border and looking at them, at those who are fleeing, that really they had the capacity and the strength to cross the ocean, so they are capable, and we can look at them in a different way. So this word refugees, actually taking refuge from something, but they are not less capacity than those who are residing on this side of the world and who are very privileged. Baha'u'llah says, shut your eyes to estrangement, then fix your gaze upon unity. Cleave tenaciously onto that which will lead to the well-being and tranquility of all mankind. This span of earth is but one homeland and one habitation. It behoveth you to abandon vainglory, which causeth alienation, and to set your hearts on whatever will ensure harmony. So as a Baha'i, even we are looked at from Baha'is from Middle East and Baha'is from Iran, even if we are looked at as we are displaced people. I'm not a refugee, but my family are a refugee, but we are looked at as we are refugees. But for us, wherever we are, that place is our homeland. And we love the people as our own brothers and sisters, because the separation between here and there is not there. Baha'u'llah says that we are all related to each other and we live in the same world. So the world is the country. I came to Iceland I remember the date, 3rd Juni 2006, and I would say this in Icelandic, 3rd June 2006. I married my husband in Dubai 2005. It was November 2005. And he came to Iceland in the 90s. And first that he came here, and now he's here over 25 years. But when first he arrived to Iceland, it was in winter. So he just wanted me to have a good feeling about Iceland. So he postponed my arrival until the next summer, which was June. It was very difficult, very challenging, everything. Yes, as I said, as a Baha'i, it's a journey. Wherever you go, you feel that's your homeland, your country, and the people, you integrate. But with the human part of being displaced from one place to another, still it is challenging. So it's a journey. You try every day and you say, here I'm going to have roots now. Here I'm going to have roots now. The summer was shocking, no nights. It was cold. I come from Middle East, 50 degree is like, wow, for me, heaven. I like 50 degree. And here, summer, my God, 15, 13, 12 degree to 15 degree, that's the summer. That's the winter for me in Oman, in Middle East, Oman. And I thought my husband is crazy. The first summer, the first week that I came, and he saw the sun during summer, and he said, let's go out. And he put his sun cream on himself and sat outside. And for me, I was sitting in my hat and coat and glove outside. I said, oh my God, I married a crazy man. He says this is this is summer and he's enjoying it. Oh my God. So, but now after almost 15 years, it will be 15 years in 2 months' time, I got used to it. And I am like him. I just see the sun, doesn't matter, winter or summer, I go out and I enjoy it. And, you know, it's very precious having the sun. Then my son was born 4th May 2009. So from 2006 to 2009, I was just trying to integrate, learn their language, starting having roots, know the culture, not to feeling isolated, and trying to find a place for my capacities to serve, to be part of this community. Wherever we go, we need to be part of the community by giving, not only by receiving. It was very challenging. The first 2 years, very, very challenging. Felt very lonely, isolated, not having, you know, family far away, and the language, the weather, everything was not finding even the ingredients that I used to have to cook certain dishes, for example. Very challenging. And then my son was born, and that's another journey. Also, you know, not having my family with me or my mother with me. So it was me and my husband when I gave birth to my child, first time. But I would like to say during this path, and even with becoming mother for the first time and the last time, I found many supportive friends in Iceland. So I was little by little starting feeling that I'm not that lonely, but still it takes longer time to settle down. It takes more than 1 year. Sometimes with the refugee programs that we have here in Iceland, the program is only for 1 year, and after that we imagine that they're free birds, fly. I was educated. I'm really highly educated person. I know languages, and you know, I've been living here and there and never in a homeland. Like I never had a homeland, so I'm like expert in being displaced. And still, it needs more than 1 year. It needs more than 5 years, you know, just for a person to settle down. So this 1 year program for people who are traumatized, for people who have been displaced, who before they come here, they have been displaced in refugee camps, for example, here and there. And with the language, with the culture, and also religious, many people, they have, it's very challenging for them, you know. As a Baha'i, I feel everywhere is my home, but there are some religions that home is not everywhere. So we need to take also into consideration those elements when we are welcoming people into the host countries. We want to build bridges, and also integration is two-way. It's not one way. They don't only need to settle down here. We also need to accept that they are going through challenges, and you know, try to understand and see their capacities and give place, give hope to use their capacities. So the winter, my son was born in summer and the winter came, and me not being a winter person, being a very, I would say, a lover of hot weather, that was challenging also, you know, to live the Icelandic winter as a first-time mother with my child, and having to make him integrate. So my son is made and born in Iceland. Is he an Icelander? Is he a Persian like me from Persian origins? But I was born in India. Is he an Indian? You know, all those questions were there. And then the question of language. I'm trying to integrate, trying to, you know, to embrace my new homeland, making roots here. But then I would like also my son to have his mother tongue, Persian, Arabic. And we don't have any spaces here that accommodates the needs of people like me. So if I am not educated, how would I make my son into, I would call it 3-dimension person, not 1 dimension? How would I help him to grow, having roots everywhere, in all cultures, in all the languages, all the literature? If everywhere I go, and I get displaced, for example, leaving Iceland, for example, and getting displaced, and then I go and live in Netherlands. So the focus will be only for him to grow as a Dutch person. But what about his roots in Iceland, for example? What about his roots in Persian literature and culture, and Arabic literature and culture? So those are those dimensions that I've been always thinking of, that I would like my child to have. And those are challenges. It's not easy. It's really not easy. But it's a journey, and I've been going through this journey, and my child is growing here. And it's challenging not to have the family with me. Of course, you know, we miss the family members, but he keeps, I'm teaching him home, his roots, the language, literature, culture, because he needs to stay in touch with his roots. Now we come to the family part. So I said I'm not a refugee, but every person in my family, majority, they are refugees. My father and mother, they are refugees. I wouldn't say now in which country, but in Europe. My sister, she's a refugee, also in Europe. And my brother, he's a refugee also in Europe. But wherever we go, and it's not only me, every single person who crossed the ocean has capacities that can add to any community they travel to. And they are not displaced, they're placed in. My brother, he's in Netherlands, I can say that because he mentioned it on his Twitter. So currently he works for the United Nations, but when he went to the Netherlands, he was a refugee in refugee camps, and he finished his master's degree there because he got the opportunity to do. He got the support to do. And then he succeeded. And then he worked as an expert at war crimes unit in Netherlands police. And before that, he was the political advisor at German and Dutch embassy in Yemen. And there, where he got imprisoned, and that's a very difficult story to say. but we didn't know about him, where he is. And we were, we were expecting that he would be killed any moment. And it was the ambassador of Netherlands that they tried to save him when he was in Yemen. So he got refugee ship in the Netherlands. This is how it happened. And the same comes to my sister, Baha'i, who lived in Yemen, and her husband is a Yemeni Baha'i. And I said that we lived in Oman for 40 years, but we never got the citizenship. We never got the passport. We were just living there every 2 years, renewing the visa. So you were never accepted as, even if your heart, I was born in India, but all my brothers and sisters, we are 5. So the rest 4, they were born in Oman. So born in Oman, lived in Oman, never got status in Oman, and then got deported. Or the visa was not renewed, so you have to leave. So my brother, who is now in Netherlands, he was born in Oman. My sister, who later married and went to Yemen, because she married a Yemeni Baha'i, she was born in Oman. Events happened in Yemen where my brother-in-law and my sister were taken to jail, and their children were left alone in the home. So my parents, my father and my mother, they took care of them, and the mother of and the grandmother of them from the father's side. And the soldiers, they came home, they raided the house, they put gun on the head of the kids, and they said, your parents are infidels and you're going to kill them. Being in Yemen, my sister, and she's also highly educated, she has master's degree, my brother, he has master's degree. Integrating into the community, there is no more this border that we are from Persian origins, or we are born in Oman, or we are Yemenis, or we are whatever. We are human beings. Wherever we are, Baha'u'llah says that we need to serve the community, the human beings. Doesn't matter, we don't have those borders as human beings. We are all human beings. So the brother of my brother-in-law, who was also who was taken also to prison, he and his wife, prior to that, because he is optician, they used to go to far away villages in Yemen. Those poor people that they don't have education, they don't have resources, and help them to get their eyes tested, give them glasses, and teach them how to take care of their eyes. The aim of any religion, Baha'i religion or any religion, is to make us discover how we human, we are connected to each other. And when we learn how we are connected to each other, then really there is no need to talk about integration, because wherever you are part of that community, and you serve the community, and you serve the people, and you live with people. And then they worked with the Baha'i community, the Baha'i Yemenis, and my sister, her husband, the children, my parents, that they were there, and the wider Baha'i community. They were working with everyone about peace and unity during this horrible time that Yemen is going through. about how we are divided from each other, and the hatred, and the war, and the killing. So it was only this few number of people, this group of people, that we believe in unity, in harmony, in finding the good in each person and helping each person to find the good in themselves and bring it on the table. And let's build bridges. Let's not just think about our own personal selfish development or growth. You know, the growth needs to be shared. My cousin, he was also in prison in Yemen, and my sister, and this is her sister-in-law. So these are the pictures of my brother-in-law on the right hand, my cousin in the middle, and the brother of my brother-in-law. They all were in prison for years, and also my sister and her sister-in-law. And for some times, we didn't know where they are. I didn't know where they are. They have just disappeared. And those are very difficult moments, to lose family contact with family members and not to know if they're alive or dead. And their only crime is just because they're serving the community, and they are not believing on those borders that the whole world is fighting to have it in place. My nationality, my religion, my culture, my language, my skin color, my, I don't know what, all those borders. These are my nephews, and they have been deprived from going to school when the parents went to jail. And that was the most difficult part for children, not to being able to know where the parents are, not to being able to go to school. We are not being able to contact them. There was no way that you can find out what is happening there. And only old man and woman, you know, grandparents, who were able to take care during the wartime and chaotic situation. It's very important, very, very, very important for those who live, who are privileged enough to live in free lands, in secure lands, in Europe or anywhere, to talk and to fight for the right of those who are not privileged enough to be free. So Amnesty is one of the organizations that kept following up from the United Nations the case of the Bahá'ís of Yemen, which included my brother-in-law, my cousin, my sister, the sister-in-law of my sister, and other Bahá'ís there, and my other family member who was sentenced to death, and their families and their children. It's important because when we are this side of the world, we are so safe. I am in Iceland now. I'm so safe. But am I safe? When you have family members, other places where they are not safe, am I safe in my heart? What can I do? Because I'm privileged and I'm safe here, physically safe. What can I do to serve others? What can I do to help others? What can I do to bring their voices out, to bring the pain out, to help, to tell the people of those who have never seen war, to tell those people who have never seen war about what it means to be in war. what it means to be displaced, what it means to be scared, what it means not to have education, what it means to be in hiding, what it means not to be able to connect with a phone call because your phone will be traced. What it means that every day you wake up and you sleep and you wait to hear that as a person has been killed from your family member without you even knowing that they have been killed. Is this, it's very painful that sometime when we are in a very safe environment and we have not gone through those life stories, I would say, but no, through those situations, we forget that others are going through. And we don't use the privileges that we have. The more I'm privileged, the more I have responsibility to serve, to help, to give, to try to bring something good out into this world. So we, in our safe environment, in our safe countries, in our safe societies, we forget that we have people who are not safe and they cannot bring their voices out. They're restricted, limited, threatened, kidnapped. How we can be their voice? How we can empower people? We're all united in this world. It really doesn't matter if someone is in Yemen and someone is in Iceland. It's the same world. Baha'u'llah says we are all in the same world and we are connected. So this was my father. Before he disappears, that was the last picture I received. And then he disappeared. And for many months, I didn't know if he's alive, if he is dead. It was nightmares, waking up at night and seeing all those dreams and not knowing. And the same with my brother-in-law, and this is he with his two sons in a sea in Yemen. So we are normal people. We live our life wherever we are. If the situation allows us to live, we live happily ever after. We serve, we give, we use the skills that we have, we develop the skills to participate in building any community. We are part of it. And Amnesty also wrote about my father, and also Amnesty Iceland, and I'm very grateful, very grateful. That was the first time I would say that I felt, you know, because when you feel that your voice is heard and you are acknowledged in everything, acknowledged in your skills, capacities, but also your weakness and also your worries and your fear, and you know, just you have a space in the community, in the new community that you came to live in. So also, so I was very, you know, that was like a gift that Iceland Amnesty wrote about my father. You know, this picture down was the last picture that I saw of my father before he disappears, and he just disappeared. This the upper picture here is a picture of all the women and their children who went into hiding when they were in Yemen. So they were, after they were released from prison, again, another court rule came that they need to be taken again into prison. So they went into hiding. And so they went into hiding. and we could not find ways to contact them. We didn't know what's going to happen to them. So they had to find their own way out. That's very scary, to be alone, and the husbands were in jail, so only women. So in a community or society or in countries that men, they are the one who are taking care of everything, suddenly women, they had to find ways. And the pictures of my nephews, and he's showing his things, because when they fled, you know, people who flee, they leave a life behind. They leave their memories, they leave their friends, they leave their things, they leave their pets, they leave a lot of things. And when they come into this new country, first they have to cross the oceans of death. It's not one ocean. The checkpoints, it's a death journey. Every step a refugee has taken and they survived it, that's a second chance to live. So let's imagine how many second chances they're getting. So those pictures, they just took, and later I got those pictures, by the way. They just took as a memory, because they were keeping everything behind. So for them to have this piece of memory in the heart, that one day I had this thing, and it was very, very dear to my heart. And again, I would say, yes, I'm talking about my family and about the situation of the Bahá'ís in Yemen. But this can happen to any single person who's taking refuge far away from the unjust situation that is happening against them in their lands. Prejudice, discrimination for religious reasons, or racial, or there are many reasons for hatred. It's amazing that we create reasons to hate, and it's like so difficult to find even one reason to find out in each one of us to love each other and get connected. It's like, no, I hate this person because he's this and this and this and this and this and this different than me, and we can write theses, books about how a person is different than me, and then we don't even spend a single drop of energy to find a reason to find a reason to how we are connected, how we are related, how we are similar in this and this and this. And we are similar as a human beings in many things. So the Bahá'ís who were imprisoned, and you see on the left hand, it's on the left hand on my screen, Hamid bin Haidara and his wife and the 3 girls, and they are now in exile. But he was sentenced to death, and he was beaten, tortured physically, and electric shocks. And also the 2 pictures downstairs, so the person on the right, he has been in prison in and out and tortured. And they're Yemenis, they're Arabs, or they're Bahá'ís. So it's like, not because of the nationality, it's because of the religion. So what the Bahá'í faith is about love, peace, and unity. Why this is bad? The head of Houthi said in a TV interview, during the time of war, those Bahá'ís are teaching people how to live in peace and harmony. This is horrible. They should not do this. So he was very angry. So peace and harmony is very bad. And we should continue killing people. And this is the dog that my nephew had before they flee Yemen. And no one knows now what happened to that beautiful dog. The picture on the right is the first picture that we received when my father and brother-in-law they were released by the help of United Nations organizations. And so this is the United Nations tent in Yemen, and they were waiting for their plane to take off outside Yemen. And this picture, so my sister, she fled Yemen through the ocean of death with the women of the family that they were in hiding, but the men, they were still in prison. So this is the first time that my nephew, they see their father and my father, the grandfather, after they were released and brought to the host country. And my sister seeing her husband and her father after a long, very long time. It's not easy to talk about death. It's not easy to talk about every moment that it's not only the people who are going through the ocean of death to cross to safety. It's also all the people who know them, all the family members who sometimes, most of the time, I talk about myself. I feel guilty. I feel I'm so privileged, I'm safe, but I cannot give this safety to them. What can I do? It's like you try to give safety to everyone, but then those people who are closest to you, you just have to wait and wait and wait and wait and pray that they find their way to safety, because I can't do it for them. I also, because as a Baha'i, I'm not allowed to be in politics. So it's like, and the world around us is like controlled by politicians. So hopefully politicians will help without having a Baha'i in the politics. So they are safe now. And this is a refugee camp in an exile, I would say. I will not say now where they are. And so my brother, but it's in Europe. So my brother visited them, and my brother-in-law and my father, my sister, my mother, and also the other group of the Bahá'ís of Yemen. But they're not in this picture. This is about my family. And this is a refugee camp here. And now they're starting to give back to their host country, because the host country is a new homeland. But they're in exile. Their heart is in Yemen, as my heart is in Oman. You know, a person becomes a world citizen, but also there is this feeling in the heart that my childhood, I spent my childhood, or this part of my life in this home country, in this land, and I would like to go back there and serve the community there, give back to that community. But now they're all have been released and safe, but it didn't happen with the support of the local government or the law. It happened with the support of international community. So this is why I say we are very privileged. Let's use the privilege that we have to help those people who are less privileged. the refugees that we have here. If we educate them about peace and unity and love, they can take it back to their homeland. We cannot all go back to all those countries that are fighting for this reason or that reason or that reason. But we have representatives of each group. We can work with them. They can learn about those bridges that connect us to each other instead of those horrible, horrible, horrible points that divide us from each other. For more information about the situation of the Baha'is in Yemen, it's very easy to go to this website, and it's the whole history, everything is available there. So they were all released in last July 2020, and it just happened. There were like six Baha'is still held in prison, and one on death list, death sentence. But still, by the way, my sister is on the list, and her husband is on the list, and his brother, and a wife of his brother. So those people are still being, their case is being taken to the court, even if they are not in the country. And, they have, you can read all about it on the website. It's amazing. So talking about where we are, we participate in building a community that we live in. As a Baha'i, we don't have this image of those borders that divide us from each other. This is a video of my sister, and it's in English, so I would like to, it's a very short video, so I would like to put it.
On this special occasion, I would like to draw the attention of the world to the persecution of the Baha'i community in Yemen by the Houthis. I'm a Yemeni Baha'i who has been persecuted, arrested, and put in prison along with other Baha'i women, young girls and children, participating in seminar aimed at empowering youth and women to rise and contribute to the prosperity of Yemen, bring hope to our fellow citizens against all conflict. Ironically, our accusation when arrested by the Houthis was spreading peace at the time of war. My whole family was arrested and forcibly disappeared. It is shocking to see these persistent efforts to eradicate the Baha'i culture and the attempts to silently exterminate the Baha'i community in Yemen by the Houthis, efforts which are carried out in a systematic and organized manner. Surely these efforts will fail because the presence of the Baha'is in Yemen is a reality. The Baha'is are present all over Yemen and hail from various Yemeni tribes from the northern and southern governorate and from various societal groups, among some, family of As-Saqaf, Bayt al-Ulufi, Bayt Ayyash, al-Urayqi. They are a beautiful painting that represent the unity and the diversity of Yemeni society, and to show how Baha'is live in harmony and coexistence with other people without any hatred, except for fanatics such as the Houthis. Finally, I wish the women, wherever they are, especially the Yemeni women, to rise courageously in the face of injustice, discrimination, and persecution of their own fellow citizens.
Now the second part, which is about the situation of the Baha'is in Iran. And as I said, I'm not a spokesperson of, of the Baha'is of Iran. I'm not a spokesperson of the Baha'is in Iceland. So I'm just talking about my family. And this is the reason that I would like to talk about the situation of the Baha'is in Iran, because it's related to my family story and my life. But for information, you can visit this website because it has been documented very well. So on the right hand, on the top, you see a picture of seven. Sorry, I apologize. You see a picture of 7 people And you see the same picture of these people after 10 years. These are the 7 Bahá'ís. They are called the Yaran of Iran, who were imprisoned for 10 years. First, the rule was 25 years, but then they appealed and appealed and appealed until it became 10 years. And still 10 years to be imprisoned for your belief. And what is this belief? Let's investigate. What is the Baha'i faith? I mean, let's not talk about anything else anymore after this lecture, seminar, or conversation. Before we go and just Google Baha'i.org. What is this Baha'i faith that the believers of the Baha'i faith are put in jail in Middle East and in Iran? What they're talking about? Why unity is such a scary thing? Why peace is such a scary thing in the world that, living a chaotic situation? Don't we need peace? So why those there's few people, minorities who are believing in peace, suddenly they are not, they're the black sheeps. We need to think about those things, really. So the cousin of my husband, he was in jail, and he is the second from down. He is the second standing from right to left on my screen. He's wearing glasses. He's the cousin of my husband. And he was in jail for 10 years for being a Baha'i. I mean, look at the faces. They were in jail for 10 years. They went inside like a youth, young people. They came out very old, sick, being, tortured. Sometimes they lived in isolation, in isolated cells. And then we have a picture of this man who was just killed because in Iran, the blood of a Baha'i is halal. What it means, halal, means that you go to heaven if you kill a Baha'i. That's one key for God to accept you in his heaven. Go and kill a Baha'i. So this man, he was just killed by 2 others in his home, and they were never they never went to jail or anything. And this happens all the time. And down you have a picture of my cousin, 2 of my cousins. And so one of my cousin, she is summoned to go to court, to jail. She was in jail, and she was released, appealed, released, and now she's summoned to go to jail. And we are just waiting any moment to hear the news that she will serve her sentence in the jail. 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. You just go to jail because you believe in love and unity. And no one is there to ask them why, ask the government why. And my other cousin also, she lives in Iran, and she and her daughter, they were in jail, both of them. And they're also summoned to go to jail. Downstairs, you see a graveyard, but upstairs, you see the graveyard of those people. These are the women that they were killed in 1983. And some of those girls, they were not women, they were girls, they were virgin. And they were raped before they were killed, because it's a belief that a virgin woman will go to, I have a problem with my speakers, and I apologize for that. It's too big for my ear. they will go to heaven if they're virgin. So they want to make sure that no one goes to heaven. So they rape them and then they kill them. And this is the body, and and then they deliver the bodies. What the reason? You have all the ages here. And the youngest, she was 16 years old, 16, 17 years old. And this graveyard is where they have been buried. And then even later after many years, they did not want the bodies to be in the graveyard. So they destroyed the graveyard. So a Baha'i doesn't have a place in Iran. A Baha'i doesn't have a place to live, although they're Iranian, by the way, they're Iranian. It's not like me, I'm Iranian, born in India, living in Oman. They are Iranian. The country does not accept its citizen because of the religion. So they don't have a place to live in. And when they die, they don't have a place to be buried. To know more about the stories, as I said before, you can visit the website. Baha'u'llah says, it's not for him to pride himself who loveth his own country, but rather for him who loveth the whole world. We are all citizens of the world. We belong to this world. So where is home? To answer this question, home is the world. Wherever I am, that would be my home. For the first few years, I feel displaced, but then that place would become my home. I'm going to end this talk today by this video about the Bahá'ís. The 6 Bahá'ís in Yemen who were released last year, and they are all now in exile. One of them is my cousin, and the other one is my relative.
رب أنقذهم من غمرات بحر البغضاء ونجهم من هذه الظلمات الدهماء وألف بين قلوبهم ونور أبصارهم بنور الصلح والسلام رب نجهم من غمرات الحرب والقتال وأنقذهم من ظلام الظلمات الضلال واكشف عن بصائرهم الغشاوة ونور قلوبهم بنور الهدى وعاملهم بفضلك ورحمتك الكبرى.
Thank you, Hoda. I want to welcome everyone who's joined us. Number of people. I'm sure we are all deeply moved by this account. Now, I would like to offer, if anyone wants to comment or ask questions, you can just raise your hand or use the chat. You can also raise your hand there. And you can either speak in English or Icelandic. Of course, we will probably, this will be in English, but if someone has a problem with speaking English, who wants to speak Icelandic, you can translate. So who would like to start? And you have to, of course, move your, take the mute button off. I would just say that this was very, I wouldn't say enlightening, maybe not the right word. It's been opened my eyes. I understand more. I feel closer to you, to the family story. You know.
Thank you.
You feel you know a little bit more about you, more connected.
Thank you.
Okay.
Langar bara að segja takk fyrir, Hoda.
Takk fyrir elskan.
Tara?
Yeah, it was really beautiful. It really touched my heart, and she made me like cry twice. I have a question. I wanted to ask, because Hoda, she is really active Baha'i in Iceland, and she always serves. My question is that because all these things happen to you and your family and your relative, is this the purpose of you really serving, or it's just because you are a Baha'i you're serving like that?
It's not an option not to serve. Baha'u'llah says that all of us, we have to. Being a Baha'i means you need to give to the world, give to others, not just yourself. So being a Baha'i, you are not inside. It's not like you focus on yourself.
Yeah.
It's like this, and it's not a religion for one person. It's not the aim. and you cannot choose. If you choose to become a Baha'i, like right away, you have to become like this. Whole world and start serving. You know, even in the Baha'i faith, you know, the house of worship that we have, Mashaq al-Askar, that's the only house of worship in any religion that it's not meant only for Baha'is. It's open. All religions and people who don't even have religions, you know, just come. It's just the doors are open. Come and just connect to your inner self and pray and sit and meditate. So the house of the Baha'is built the house of worship, but not for the Baha'is. We build it for the world. So it's not an option, actually. This is why I said it's a journey, because also to be able to serve, I need to keep cleaning, purifying my heart through my anger, my sorrows, you know, all the time I have to remind myself that it's not a choice, you know. You have to purify. I have to purify myself.
Thank you.
Somebody else? Elsa? Elsa, you need to take a mute.
Ég var upptekin þannig ég gat ekki komið fyrir en þú var svona hálfnuð. You had gone through half of it, I think, when I came. But really, this touched me deeply, and I'm sure I will wait for it to come on YouTube so I can see the first part. And again, what you showed in the last part, it is really, really something that I would like to, you know, watch again. Thank you, Hoda.
Yes. Someone else? Maybe Hoda, while we're waiting, I was thinking, what can we do here in Iceland? How can we help?
Yes, we have many refugees here. We have many displaced people here. So actually, you know, in the beginning, I said I keep building my capacities to be able to serve and serve and serve more, so not to be limited in one area. We all have many capacities and channels and resources, and we know many people, and we can do a lot of things. So whatever we do, it will benefit one person. So the Baha'is in Yemen, they need a voice in the community here. Many people in Iceland or in Europe or in the world, they don't know really what the Baha'is in Yemen and what the Baha'is in Middle East and what the Baha'is in Iran are going through. And then again, what is the Baha'i faith? Really, what is the Baha'i faith? I mean, why they put the Baha'i person in jail? So not talk about the person, talk about what the Baha'i person believes in. So what is it about? But also the Baha'i faith, the most important teaching is just to serve. And we have so many people around us who are in pain. Not only refugees, we have many, the pain is just boiling everywhere. So what we can do to bring peace into the hearts, you know, it's a journey, But we have illiterates from those cultures that we bring the refugee, they are coming as refugees here. And again, the meaning, what is refugee? They need to be able to read and write in their own mother tongue, to be able to connect to their own culture. So when they learn about gender equality in Iceland, and they learn about all those good, very, very good system, civilized, modern system in Iceland, to be able to bring it back into their homeland. Their children, when they learn here, if they lose the mother tongue, they cannot bring it back into their culture. They might one day they grow up, and become maybe activists, politicians, something. But if they cannot write and communicate in their own mother tongue, how they can, So we have our peace pioneers here. We cannot travel to Yemen. We cannot travel to Middle East, but we have representatives here. We can start consulting. This is just to answer, consulting about how each one of us can use the capacities we have to work with each other, to build the bridges. The bridge is not one person job. Building a bridge is a whole community, and integration is not one way. Integration is two ways. We need to start accepting that they have capacities and they're capable. They crossed the ocean of death. They crossed it. It's not an easy task. They have done it. And now we are here, we see suddenly that they cannot do anything. Of course they can.
Right. Well, Hoda, thank you again. Is anyone has a burning question or comment? If not, then I will again thank you, Hoda, for this wonderful lecture, and everybody for participating. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.